We are under a big shift in energy, and you guys get to be in the front lines of witnessing this energy change right now. We were expecting some big changes when the sun went into Leo, but it didn't really happen, did it? But now, a new moon in Leo, with Mercury out of combust, we might get our shift. Hang on, let's get started now. Let's go surfing. Everybody get in your stance with no fear, courage. I better get off that page before I get slapped again. All right, folks, if you're new here, we are triangulating for the biggest influence. We do go deep dive into the astrology of each day for the next week, this one between July 28th and August 3rd. But we're trying to come out and just see this as the big picture, the main gist of the week, the main energy that you're going to feel. And we triangulate for that energy. And then at the end of the video, we talk about what to do with that energy. So what behavior should you be looking at? What action should you be considering on paying attention to in order to maximize this energy? So I start with the astrology as an overview. By the way, we do two versions of astrology. And the influence is the tropical astrology. So you're going to see when we do this day by day breakdown, you're going to see there's a whole lot more in the astrology that we're going to talk about. But just to keep it simple, the big picture is we got a new moon in Leo, and that is trine Jupiter. So it brings this big optimism and exuberance. And I mean, Leo anyway is big energy. It's fire. It's bold. There's no fear. There's a leadership, creativity, but it's also this wonderment, childlike wonderment that we were expecting. And so a beautiful trine between the sun and the new moon when it's there, and trine over to Jupiter. So it brings this wise, optimistic feel to it. So really beneficial. Unfortunately, it's at the same time, pretty much this whole week, is this massive, unusual Mars-Uranus over the North Node T-square, all that. And it's super, so there's part of the energy that's really conflicted. Now it's at the time of the new moon, this T-square is real loose. So not the primary energy. And then as we move along, that T-square is going to get tighter and tighter. This is where you've got lots of 90-degree alignments with each other, which in astrology sort of means that the energy doesn't seamlessly go back and forth and channel between the two planets. And so things get conflicted and pressured. But at the same time, we have that new moon in Leo trine Jupiter. So how do we sift through that? So that's our conundrum there, as well as a bunch of other alignments. But then the I-Ching says enthusiasm. And so that points to right in the middle of what we were thinking, which is the Leo new moon. So yay, this Leo moon, this Leo energy that we were expecting earlier when the sun was going into Leo. We didn't get to enjoy it because it was too conflicted. There's too much other nonsense going on. So now, well, at least, yeah, we got this T-square, but according to the I-Ching, we're going to feel that new moon in Leo, and it is the dominant energy. Yay. And then the dream bot, here's what's cool too, I think. The dream bot, remember last week was all about Mercury and travel and a little bit of talk and learning. Well, it's still there. It's still about travel. Which also could be Jupiter. Jupiter's more long distance travel. So, I mean, it's driving. So typically that's more of commuting, and so might be more Mercury. But the point is that Mercury, where is Mercury right now? Well, Mercury's in Leo. So there's more Leo energy. So we plot the Dreambot circle over where Mercury is. And then the I-Ching is right in the center where the new moon is. And there is that overlap, and that is Leo. It's just the overlap is Leo. So it's all boldness, fear. It's that little overlap between it all One is the new moon, one is Mercury, but the commonality is Leo. So there you go. There's our overlap. It's not a super high congruency because it's just this tiny little overlap area. But hey, we'll take it, right? All right, let's keep going on this because we want to know all about this energy. And some quick announcements. Shout out to all of you on Rumble and YouTube because we had the best week ever. I think it felt like the best week ever in comments. And so I want to just go over really quick some of the themes that we had. These are really important. The first one was the important theme of gratitude and appreciation, not just for the CIRF reports and according to you guys, the accuracy thereof. And I'm really grateful for that. But I'm going to put these quotes down. So grateful to be part of this family. Yes. And that this CIRF family is just that. It's a family. We have differing ideas and we bat ideas around and we're open and accepting of everybody else's opinion. So thank you for all that. Then the other theme was just chaos. There's, quote, too much chaos, quote, winds of change. Something big is happening. All out of patience. The tide is high. I need some good fight with myself. Emotional conflicts to boot. So everyone is conflicted, and that was perfectly matched with last week's CIRF report. I get it. But my point is, if we combine that with the next theme, which is health issues, quote, I am crashing in every way. I lost my pup to cancer, been experiencing physical sickness. Bottom line is, everybody is feeling this pressure and amid chaos. We're seeing chaos in airplanes. We're seeing chaos in the grocery stores, everywhere you see, in the subway stations. It's nuts out there. You can't let that affect you. So I have some recommendations for everybody. First, take care of yourselves first. All right. We're going to be talking about influence this week. Make sure, no matter what this solution is, you first take care of yourself. And for that, you need good sleep. And for that, even good sleep. And don't underestimate the power of sleep. So health issues, the quickest way to resolve health issues, maybe even mental health issues, is good quality and good quantity of sleep. All right. And I could go off for a whole hour on that topic alone, but here's some more ideas. Lots of breaks. We're not meant as humans to be just putting out all the time and yang and doing. We got to take breaks, and relaxing and centering is important. But I'm recommending that when you put all this together, I think we should be focusing on our spiritual progress, our individual spiritual progress. And for that, I think you're going to build whatever process, you're going to build a routine around that, and one that allows you the most amount of trust for your personal life plan as we're going forward into the future. In other words, the protocol, the higher self or the higher power, or just the process itself, like meditation or prayer, one that brings you the most amount, not just satisfaction, but the most amount of faith and trust as you move into the future. That's the one that you want to foster, and you can always make it better. So that's what I'm asking you to do, is make it, continue it, and evolve it. And then lastly, we are together. We are one. We are not separated. We're separated by probably, physical and communication, but we are the majority. We are in it together. Where we go one, we go all. And then I've got my little banner here, no fear. That's a little, just a little subliminal messaging while I was reading all that other stuff for you to ponder. No fear. I'm going to take that banner away to give you the winner of this week's comment. And it's Rob Sullivan. I love it. I'm at 2 times audio speed because my coffee is just too strong. And we had a couple comments. Oh, me too. That's awesome. Thank you, everybody, for your comments. I'm not valuing those whatsoever by not specifically commenting, but I thought those themes were really important. All right, here's the Dreambot, and the new one here is hard work. The number one word is gym, and that is a lot of hard physical work, and it's repetitive, and the word repetitive is in here too. Ritual. It's about growing self. So the collective is there working on self and working hard to do it. And I think that we should all be doing that, but more in the spiritual way, as I mentioned before. And then the travel theme is just still there. It's not the same words. There are a lot of different words from last week, but they all have to do with basically Mercury. So anyway, take that or leave it. Mercury is in Leo right now. So we're looking, let me darken this up so you can see where I'm pointing, but we're on the right side of this vertical line. We're at the very end of July 2022. We do have a few planets still in retrograde. And 2 of those are in an alignment together, a sextile. Remember, that's Neptune and Pluto. Just remind you, because this is going to be years in the making. I think I said December 2023, I believe. This alignment is going to give you access to powerful dreams. And I'm going to keep hammering at home each CIRF week because it's that important. Start now. Don't be waiting. I'm working with a lot of clients, and a lot of clients are having a lot of powerful dreams here. Powerful does not indicate that it has to be in a collective sort of a dream, but those are important too. But individual and collective versions of those dreams. All right, there's this big trine, and I don't know why I'm talking quieter right here, but that I mentioned earlier, Sun trine Jupiter, very powerful, optimistic one. It goes exact or precise on the 31st. And then as we get into August, here's sort of what we got. We got the Mars and Uranus thing. It's precise this week. And it's over the North Node. So it ages out. And now this is only the Mars and Uranus. We haven't even talked about the North Node because Uranus, obviously being a slower planet, is going to be over the North Node for quite some time. And I don't have that off the top of my head. I feel like my cursor is lagging behind, so I might have to change out my battery halfway through this CIRF report. But let me give you an overview of just August in general. There's a lot happening. We've got early the new moon. That's not indicated on this chart because we don't chart moon aspects because that would just be way too long. But we have the full moon in Aquarius, the crazy full moon. There's a lot going on that alignment. And it's all things Aquarius, as bizarre as that sounds. So we have a whole period of time with Leo and Leo energy, except for when that full moon comes out, it's all on Aquarian. Whoop, whoop. We're going to have at roughly the same time as the full moon, Venus is going to go into Leo. Interesting. And towards the end here, this is ruining. So let me figure out how I can say some stuff while I change out the battery. How is everybody doing this week? Have some of you seen the energy shift yet? We haven't even really talked about the energy shift yet. CIRF report. Just wondering. Yeah, that's better. All right. So we got the Mars trine Pluto. That's a big one. And that's coming up after this week. So it'll be in the next CIRF report. That's going to be most of August is going to be this easy access to power. It's going to be power, outer power, and easy access to inner power. So it's going to be all synchronistic, and unfortunately, everyone's going to feel that. So even the power hungry people are going to be accessing it. So might see this as above, so below. You'll see the outer power, and you'll see the subliminal inner subconscious power that people don't even know they're displaying. But you'll be able to see this because you'll know about it, because I'm going to be telling you to look for it. Let's see. Anything else? You've got Sun square Mars towards the end. This is a big one. The Uranus trine Pluto, and you can see it's very light shaded because the two slow planets. This is going to be a long alignment in the making. So we'll talk about that when the time comes. All right, Thursday the 28th. Here we are. New moon in Leo, roughly midday, 12:54 p.m. That's Central Time here in the U.S. You've got obviously the sun and the moon in Leo overlapping each other in azimuth. And so you're not going to see an eclipse here. The next eclipse, I believe, is in October, FYI. And but anyway, there's still this new moon. It means the refreshing of the lunar cycle. That means the old lunar cycle washes away, and now we turn into more, I don't know, it can be childish and youthful. It's like rationalization doesn't really matter. You don't really think before you act first, think later. Wonderment, but also leadership. If things get really stressful, the Leo can really be overbearing and sort of just take over and dominate. And you've got Mercury over here, which is part of the T-square we'll talk about, but it's out on his own. He's 13 degrees away from the sun, so not worried about combust. Now Mercury is in fall in Leo. It doesn't think quite as well. Again, said we act first instead of think. That is this energy, but Mercury is in Leo, so that's that added Leo energy. And then we have the sun and moon trine over to Jupiter, so big optimism, and Jupiter is in Aries, so it's a double fire, easy access to excessive, positive, optimistic, what could possibly go wrong energy. The only thing that's contradicting that is this double T-square, and Mars, the rebellious, the warrior, Uranus, the rebel, and North Node is going into the future. Uranus also is in the future, so there's big change happening in the material world, in the Taurus world, in your field of experience, that's Taurus, in your field of worth, that's Taurus. All these things are changing. And there's a big focus on it as we head closer and closer together. Right now, Mars and Uranus is in about 3 degrees away. So we will couch this discussion until those get a little bit closer, but you're definitely going to feel this energy. Plus, I also want to point out that at the time of the new moon, this one's interesting, and this will be relevant when we get into the I-Ching. 6 signs are in fixed signs, right? And fixed doesn't necessarily mean Earth. Fixed Earth is Taurus, and we've got 2 over here in Leo and 1 in Aquarius. So fixed is getting the vast emphasis on planets, and what that means is a little bit more steadfast, a little bit more sure of it's hard to adapt, it's hard to see other people's views, and so the energy there when you have so many planets in fixed signs is that everyone tries to be more influential on others, tries to sway them. It's not like there's a Leo thing, but there is that Leo energy, of course. And Leo is an influencer. It wants to influence. It's not like the fixed need to influence, but the fixed are just sort of resistant to change, resistant to wanting to adapt. So you're going to see that. You're going to see people's heels digging in this week. That's my point. Okay, now obviously the T-square on Mars, Uranus, and North Node. Just an update on where they are. We're now within 2 degrees, and Uranus is within 1 degree. When these all come together, as you're going to see towards the end of the week, they're going to be at exactly the same piece of sky, and only 9 minutes are going to separate North Node and Uranus. And so this focus now, especially as the moon progresses out of this new moon start, now the focus more is definitely on this T-square. It's a pressured feeling. It's a conflicted, but it's focused on. The focus you can't get off of this energy here, which is focused on the future. It's not necessarily fighting against each other. Like, you don't necessarily have Mars fighting against Uranus. It's whenever you have a conjunction, it's those energies combined. And so Uranus wants to break free of things and be more eccentric. Mars just wants to fight and fight for self. And in this case, fighting for maybe self-worth. In that context, if you combine those things together, it's just a raging bull that wants to break out of this gate. It wants to break free of the confines. It wants to break free of the shackles because of the Uranus, and it's going into the future. So all you can see is the future. Uranus from Aquarius, ruling Aquarius, is very future-oriented anyway. And so the feeling might be associated with confinement in a T-square. And so that makes this exacerbates this very thing. It's a whole meme of feeling confined, wanting to break free, wanting to be who you are, liberty-minded, going into the future, and the pressure to do it and the high focus on it. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're automatically going to get it sometime in the future, but everyone's focused on that. Can't get away from it. So that's if you're freedom-minded, this is an energy stamp that will affect every human being, and it might take a while to manifest into the future, into the North Node, but that's the purpose of collective right now. It's a beautiful thing if you're a Aquarian or anybody who's freedom-minded. Still big optimism with Sun trine Jupiter, and looking at those numbers, 6 degrees and 34 minutes. And so we're roughly 2 degrees off of precision there. And so there's a lot of focus that shifts. Let's see. Still optimistic. Still going to feel that Leo fire energy, but the pressure is more. The focus is shifting to that war on our future. And then Saturday, we are... Okay, Uranus is within 14 minutes, so at the same degrees now. Mars marching in, this T-square getting tighter. The focus is on this rebel and warrior. The war for the future is there. And this one is heating up. And I say heating up, so this is the Sun trine Jupiter. Should be really fantastic in terms of how it feels and this energy exchange. It can be overly positive. It can be overly optimistic. It can be excessive. But it's heating up in that it's fire energy going back and forth between your ego and the Jupiter influence. So heating up in terms of fire. It's getting hotter, but in a real positive way. And always remember, you've got the Pluto and Neptune in a sextile. All right, continuing in on Sunday. Now, this T-square that is still there over the North Node, Uranus and North Node are going exact today. That's Sunday, the 31st. Mars is technically, in a conjunction, obviously, this whole week. But Mars is within a degree now. So they're all really coagulating in that same area and very, very close. But Uranus over the North Node. So this goes exact. Your insights about the future are there. Very hard to not be thinking about this because it's a T-square that's only tightening, especially around Mars. And then the Sun and Jupiter perfecting as well. All right, now Monday, I've got a couple charts for you here at different times. So this is when we have some perfection going on with the North Node and Mars and Uranus. On the 1st at 1 o'clock Central Time, this is when Mars is over the North Node. And at that time, Uranus is at 42 minutes. So we're looking at 9 minutes apart from each other. So these are basically, for all intents and purposes, exactly at the same spot in the sky. It's a perfect conjunction. And then the Mars and Uranus is going to go exact later at 6:52 p.m. on that same day. So we're still on Monday the 1st. Monday is a very special day for this gateway to just pop open. The maximum amount of energy that you're going to feel right there is on Monday in the afternoon, if you're in the Central Time Zone, from about 1 to about 6, and then plus some, because it doesn't just all of a sudden end after Mars goes past it. And it's a focus area. It's a heavy, conflicted, pressured. It's the pressure to see and get insight about the future and the war for it. And it's very independence oriented and technology oriented, technology and worth. Tuesday, the 2nd. You can see how the Mercury is marching fast and ends this T-square, right? And so now we just have this double square energy with Saturn. And it's refining all this while. So we're about 4 degrees away. It's limitation. Saturn is limitation in Aquarius. So it's a limit of freedom, pressured with freedom going into the future, fighting for freedom, warring and protecting yourself through free thinking. Warrior rebel stands up for self. The pressure. I didn't finish my sentence there. Just noticed that. But yeah, there's this pressure for standing up for yourself in a very wild bull sort of a way that's been cooped up, feeling entrapped with the limit of freedom, the limit of disclosure, limit of awareness and knowledge, and conflicted through that. But the future looks more Uranus-like, more Mars-like. All right, look at this. Look at all those alignments. You have another T-square on Wednesday, the 3rd, and it's over with the moon in Libra. So justice, emotionally invested in justice, is the trap there. It's not a bad trap. I mean, it's just going to be a big, big focus area. And then you've got a double square forming. It's not a T-square again, but it's a double square on Uranus and the North Node. Uranus is now 20 degrees away from the North Node, so it's still very future-oriented. Mars still within a degree, so still that same fight, but it's starting to age out. The whole week, I forgot to mention, because this is a hidden opportunity that we have. You're going to see this future-oriented stellium. And sorry, I'm working through a potential sneeze. But you're going to see this stellium having an opportunity for your relationships and for your wealth. And the relationships are in Cancer, so they are protective and nurturing and caring for the people that you love. But there's an opportunity there. There's also the opportunity to show caring and protection in affecting in how you work through into the future and fight your way towards more insight, higher technology and disclosure and freedom. So, and that sextile's there the whole while. Now let's see if I can remember what it is. Okay, here, this is the end of this end of the stellium. Mars and Uranus is at the last point, and that is August 12th. So this stellium of Mars, Uranus, North Node is going to be there and going to be a factor in our lives and fighting for and stamping our future of independence and uniqueness until August 12th. And by the way, there'll be a T-square there when that ends. Look at all that square there. So really refining. You've got the moon that just finished its Aquarian full moon, so making things really crazy right around Saturn. As represents the limitations of everything Aquarian, fighting against or conflicted against Uranus that is fighting for the future. So this is breaking through the barriers of the limitation of everything Aquarian, meaning that it's going to go towards the Aquarian outcomes. All righty, the I-Ching enthusiasm. This is a really cool hexagram, and I've got 3 change lines there. But enthusiasm unleashes creative energy. That is the Leo energy. Leo is creative. The effect is like powerful music that inspires great number of people. What is that? That's influence. And that is also Leo. This basically is just saying the very best of what Leo has to offer. Enthusiasm in a personal relationship or in a group generates special electricity. This is the Leo influence. Self-consciously flaunting enthusiasm invites misfortune. Those around you need to ignite their own flames. So you don't want to control other people to be enthusiastic. You want it to be authentic for them, but you are to use this influence. So we're going to see later. Line 2 says the waves of enthusiasm take over a group. The wise person watches for small signs of misfortune and then withdraw quickly if that again, you just don't want to be controlling others, and you need to be watching for the signs that you're controlling others, which means resistance. Look for resistance. The sober realization that a false dream has run its course can be a sign of a fresh beginning. I want you to see into that. There is a lot of meaning in this. The sober realization that a false dream, the dream of, say, the Great Reset, has run its course, could be a sign of a fresh beginning. Absolutely. And the stars support this new beginning. Here's the solution. As you put the change lines in, we get diverging interests. Now this, remember, points back to the 6 fixed signs. Remember, so people are a lot more fixed. People are digging their heels in and defending their views. Remember, this is a solution. Simply put, when people grow apart, even for the most natural of reasons, their points of view, values, interests, and schedule diverge. But when opposition takes the form of healthy competition, or when it is recognized as part of natural order of things, good fortune is still possible for the relationship. So what it's saying is it's okay to be competitive. It's okay to have diverging interests. Remember, it's not just different interests, it's diverging interests. So it's a movement, it's a trend. And make sure you realize it's okay this week to fight for your side of things and influence your side of things, but more in a competitive and appreciation of the competition, not trying to conquer. It's not a conquering energy, right? It's a very careful difference. Remember that there are always creative possibilities inherent in polarities. If opposition has its roots in principle, you must hold on to your integrity and individuality. Now we're into that Uranus aspect over the North Node. Let go of vulgar or self-absorbed people who do not share your values. With both people and companies, one measure of stature is the quality of one's competition. So what it's saying is, with this Leo energy, it's going to be bold, you're going to be influencing, and because of that, you're going to find resistance. You're going to find these diverging interest. The best you can do is not bulldoze over, but look at the value of the competition. Okay? And I want you to sit on that one until we get to the solution slide. Now I put it into the conversion chart, put the new moon in Leo into the conversion chart. We get hexagram 31 for the rave and sidereal Cancer. And the the gate in the rave, guess what? It just says influence. Surprise, surprise. It's about influence. But now we get a little bit deeper. Behind the influence is an intention. There's a lot of different intentions that you can have for the influence. It can be popular, it can be egotistical, or it can be nurturing. And that's what it's saying here. Public acknowledgement of a nurturing and protective influence. Doesn't that sound like Cancer? That's the Cancer solution. It's just a perfect match of you're going to use your influence to protect and nurture others. Basically, that's the most positive outcome you can get according to the rave. All right, let me summarize all of this for you, get everything squared away. Zoom in. You can see this little lion, and a lion has no fear. There's only courage. And you've got the Mercury aspects, you've got thoughts that are Leo, and you've got the sun and the new moon all in Leo, trine over to Jupiter. So it's excessively no fear. It's very optimistic. So you can tap into this, but here's the energy. Overview of the energy. An energetic shift is expected this week. We start off with big, exciting, electrifying Leo new moon, which arouses passions, creativity, and excitement. Then the week turns especially individualistic, confrontive, rebellious, and freedom-oriented as we shift into the future. All right, and now for our last triangulation is for the solution. How should you behave? What action should you consider employing this week to maximize the energy? Well, you got diverging interests. Find your unique passions, your interests, and beliefs. And it's beneficial to be competitive, but not combative. Above all, hold integrity for your individuality. In other words, you're not a chameleon this week. You're going to hold true to what's right for you and your beliefs, and go out and about and influence. Let me get to that later. I'm going to put it all together here in a second. Rave mandala, gate 31 of influence, but the intent behind it is how success is determined. And then we have the sidereal Cancer, which is protective and nurturing. So the solution triangulation seems to acknowledge the bigger Leo influence and offers ways to utilize that energy. First, orient yourself to your own unique influence. we all have influence, whether or not you know it or not, or want it or not. The Aquarians are probably the ones who are least acknowledging of their influence, because it just doesn't seem to be a real important thing for Aquarius. But we have it too. And so it's this week with the Leo energy, it's to tap into your influence. It's what's important to you. So we all have it, and the key is to be aware of it, commit to using it, the influence, and set a meaningful intention on how that influence is perceived. So the only other thing that I didn't mention in the rave is that intention. It's how it's perceived, which will determine how that intention and the influence is carried out. So it's not just having the right intention, but it's an acknowledgement of how it's being perceived. Okay, the I-Ching diverging interest hexagram absolutely encourages you to exude Leo strong behaviors. But remember that intentions matter. Are you going to be a bulldog and mow down everyone else because your beliefs are better? Are you going to be condescending to others with lower opinions? On the flip side, are you going to be timid and walk on eggshells and not share your influence? Are you going to quickly acquiesce against other louder influencers? None of these questions should be yes. Sidereal Cancer offers help with this intention idea. Seek to help protect others with your influence. Demonstrate your caring attitude and from a more maternal, nurturing way. So that's how we mix everything together. Some people think that there's a yin and yang with mixing the Cancer solution with the Leo influence. Yes, but I think it's more direct here. We can take bits and pieces of that Cancer, and I think those nurturing, caring, maternal, and protection are the themes of Cancer that really need to be accentuated this week. And then using that Leo influence of all aspects of our lives, you put that out there. All right. That's the nuts and bolts. So I can say in my mantra, I boldly influence, which is a hard thing for Aquarius to say. I boldly influence others to nurture their soul's growth and path. Why did I say Aquarius? Why did I say hard for Aquarians? Because I am an Aquarius, if you didn't know that. And so this is a challenging, Leo's kind of like the antithesis of Aquarius. And so it's very influential. Aquarius is like anti-influential. It doesn't need that. It's not fighting for, that's just not important for the Aquarian. But is Aquarius in general into this mix? Not really. It's just me personally. So I'm sorry to confuse anybody that might be thinking, why does he keep talking about Aquarius? Now, in a couple weeks from now, or maybe even the next CIRF report, when we talk about all these Aquarian things, that'll be a different story. That'll be one of the influences. So, but for now, it's really just about the Leo influence, and then use the Cancer sidereal solution to help you with the intention behind your influence. Okay. Again, no fear. It's total courage. It is boldness. It's creative. And it's also youthful. It's pleasant. It's entertaining. It's an energy that is refreshing. Okay. So get refreshed, get youthful, with wonderment and excitement. And that's all I got for you, everybody. Keep the comments rolling, and I appreciate every one of you. And get healthy. Get your cup filled. We've got some tough times that we're going to be going through. No matter what transpires, if it writes itself, That's homeostasis. The law of homeostasis says there's going to be some major disruption just in that. If it rights itself suddenly, you got a whole mass of people that are just going, oh, what? And things are going to look just insane. So, but I don't think it just can excuse me, I don't think it can just all of a sudden just right itself all of a sudden. But I'm open to that, and I'm ready for that. That's for sure. But get your ship right. Get your sleep, premium sleep, and get your spiritual path routined every day. Get it into a process. Get it regimented, and have it working for you. Do you feel more trusting of your own soul's path as we head into the future? Do you even feel grateful for that path and you don't even know what it is? Maybe you do and you're grateful. That's good. But the point is more trust, more faith that even though you work through hardship or you're going to be facing some things that aren't pleasant, that's your path. Okay. So whatever spiritual path produces the most of that trust, I highly recommend you put more of that into your life and get centered. All right. Take care, everybody. We will see you next week. Cheers.